In this video, I'm going to be going over what is a client-server content distribution network. So, a client-server model. So, we went over this in an earlier video. So, here's the server, and this is how these are the end users: desktop, laptop, phone, tablet, whatever. But basically it means this. What is the client-server model? So here are the origin servers. Then they go to the cache servers, the cache servers, right? The content to be distributed over the internet is stored here originally. This can be in the customer network or part of a content delivery network, so on and so forth. So goes from the origin servers to the cache servers to the end user, right? So 1, 2, 3. This is a content distribution network. Cache servers located across various parts of the globe that contain cache content, copied content, from the origin servers. These servers either cache all the content from the origin servers or only the frequently requested one. A content delivery network, CDN, tries to position as many caching servers as possible closest to the target audience to whom the content needs to be served. Optimized connection over the internet between the origin servers and the cache servers. So, was it unoptimized connection over the internet between the... Okay, weird. So basically, as I said before in a different video, the content distribution network, the idea is, at least for the client server model, to have closer servers to the end user. Now, if I wanted to download a file from New York, it would be better for me to download a copy file from Los Angeles, because that would be like 2,400 miles closer to where I am than, say, New York. So, but what is a client-server distribution network? A client-server distribution network is a type of content distribution network where content is distributed via large semi-centralized server farms and then distributed to the end-user individual. So we went over in an earlier video what is the difference between peer-based and client-server. So this is centralized. This is the client-server model, right? There would normally be like an origin server here in the middle, an origin server in the middle that goes to all these all these semi-centralized servers, and then to the end user. Individual is this guy right here. So what are the pros? What are the pros of a client-server content distribution network? The number one pro is that the servers are reliable. Okay, so if the servers are centralized and they're maintained by a company, that means that they are reliable, right? The company's number one selling point is that those servers are reliable and they don't go down, right? And if they do go down, it's a big problem. Server capacity is reliable, meaning that you can reliably use the server you can reliably use the server up to a certain point, a certain number of users, right? Whereas with individual networks, maybe you could serve 100, maybe you could serve 1,000, depends on how well the network is doing. For the server for client server content distribution networks, that what it means is that they know exactly how many they can handle and they can reliably handle it. Right? It's not maybe 100, maybe 1,000. It's 10,000, right? It's 10,000, and they can handle under 10,000. But the moment it gets over 10,000, then things get weird, right? So that's the idea. That the first selling point is that the servers are reliable, and the second selling point basically is that the servers can perform reliably. So the servers are always on reliably, but that they can perform reliably. And 3, clear responsibility when something messes up, right? So there's clear responsibility as to who needs to handle keeping the servers online, right? So if there's a mess up with the server, or the server goes down, then there's clear responsibility as to whatever mess up happened. So what are the the cons of a client-server content distribution network? If the centralized servers go down, the content that you're getting goes down. So say, for instance, because Netflix is a client-server distribution network, if Netflix's servers go down, hey, guess what? There's no more Netflix, right? If there's only a movie that you can get on Netflix and you can't get anywhere else, right? And Netflix's servers go down, then guess what? You're not getting that movie. But if that movie is, say, on the Pirate Bay, or torrented or torrenting, if one guy goes down, or even 100 guys go down, as long as there's even one guy with that movie seeding it, then the movie's never going to go away. Second con is that server capacity doesn't scale with demand. In contrast to peer-to-peer or torrenting, automatically scales to need. But server client does not automatically scale. It requires a lot of work to upgrade the capacity of a server. So that basically means that if you have a certain number of users that the server can reliably handle, and you want to upgrade that amount, it requires a lot of time, effort, energy, and money to upgrade the operating capacity of a server. So that can be a big problem. Traffic costs are centralized to whoever hosts the central servers, right? So it's not an individualized network. It's not a peer-to-peer network. They don't all share the cost, right? The centralized or semi-centralized servers are hosted by the company that is hosting the content, and that can get very expensive. So they take on the expense. There's one, and finally, the biggest con: there's one single actor or company that has complete control over the servers and therefore the content, right? So Netflix is a really good example. Netflix's original series, it has control over that content. It can edit that content, right? So if that movie, if that show only exists on Netflix's servers, then they can arbitrarily decide to alter that content in any way they see fit. And I personally don't like that. It's a huge con of the client server model. So how is it different than a peer? Than a peer-to-peer distribution network. A client-server-based distribution network is a semi-centralized distribution model, as opposed to a completely decentralized and uncontrolled peer-to-peer distribution network, right? So it's a difference between this and this, right? What are the differences? Well, they have the pros and cons. In a client-server-based distribution network, you have two participants, the client and the server, okay? And this is the client, that is the server. That is the server, this is the client. And the server is doing just that, serving the client. The server is serving the client the content the client is asking for, and the server might serve one client, it might serve 1 million clients. This is in contrast to peer-to-peer, where two equals are sharing information between each other. In the client-server model, the two parties are not equal, and all the content is semi-centralized into large server farms that serve individual clients. Peer-based distribution network equals individual to individual. Client-based distribution network equals group to individual. And that is what a client-server distribution model is.